Why knowledge matters.
Well, the interesting thing about deconstructing standards for depth of knowledge, it's the next step in unpacking or unwrapping the standards. It extends the process, the great process that Larry Ainsworth established back in the early 2000s. Now, with that process, what people generally do is that they circle the verbs to identify the skills students must perform and underline the nouns to identify the key concepts that must be taught and learned. That's a great method. And if you notice, like I said, I'm not saying don't do Larry Ainsworth's method, do it my way. That's a great method. That was also a great method that worked when we had No Child Left Behind standards that focus more on students demonstrating their ability to perform skills and demonstrate their knowledge of key concepts. What makes these standards, the college and career ready standards, and now these next gen standards, as they're calling them, is that they're contextual. To determine the DOK level, that's what DOK focuses on, context. To determine the DOK level of standard, you still do the Ainsworth method. You circle your verbs and you underline your nouns. But then what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to take a highlighter and highlight everything that comes after that first verb in the objective and don't stop until you get to a period or a semicolon. So if I had determine a theme of a story from details in the text and explain how the details support the theme. So the first verb I would circle is determine. And there's another verb in there, explain. So I know there's two verbs in there. So what that means is that standard has at least two objectives. Now, now I go and look for the content. I know I have to teach them theme, details, text, and basically that's the focus. So it's the concepts that are in that standard. But now I take a highlighter and I highlight everything that comes after determine, and I don't stop until I get to a period. Now I look what's in the yellow, that highlighted area. So what exactly am I determining? A theme from details in the text. So that's one objective. But then you have a conjunction there that says and. That means, oh, there's another objective. So I have two objectives. So then I start again. Explain what exactly, how the details, how deeply support the theme. So I have two separate objectives they have to achieve to demonstrate to achieve they have to achieve to demonstrate competency or to perform successfully or demonstrate proficiency. So that's the next step with deconstructing the standards. You still do the Ainsworth method where you circle the verbs and you underline the nouns. But what I'm asking people to do is take a highlighter and highlight everything that comes after that first verb. Then you look basically and say, okay, what do they have to do to show that they learned it? And I give them four simple things. They either have to answer, which is a DOK1, explain or express themselves, that's a DOK2, justify or verify, that's a DOK3, or explore and extend, that's a DOK4. So let's look at those two objectives. Determine a theme of the story from the text. I have to explain what that is. That's a DOK2. But then it says explain how the details support the theme. I have to verify that. That's a DOK3. So I now know that whole objective is a DOK3 because that last objective is the most demanding. I also know what the kids are going to be asked on the assessment. They're going to be asked to achieve that first objective, that second objective, both objectives, or just say, what is theme? So that's how deconstructing with depth of knowledge works. Do the Ainsworth method, the great Larry Ainsworth method. Circle your verbs, underline your nouns. Then take a highlighter and highlight everything after that verb and don't stop until you get to the period. Now, look closely. Are there conjunctions like and or? That means more than one objective. Are there commas? That means more than one objective, possibly more than one condition. Then you have to ask yourself, how do the students respond to that standard? If they have to answer, it's a DOK1. If they have to explain or express how they got that answer or what the answer is, that's a DOK2. If they have to justify or verify with evidence why that answer is what it is, or why it's correct or incorrect, it's a 3. And if they explore and extend their answer, which means that they go beyond.
That's why knowledge matters. Make your life a masterpiece. Visit now programs.d-ykm.com.